Welcome back. My name is Mohammad Sajid. I am a joint PhD scholar between University of Manchester and IIC Bangalore. Today, in this video, I talked with Mr. Varad. Varad is my friend and he is pursuing his PhD in public health at University of Oxford, that too through Rhodes Scholarship. He did his MBBS degree from AIIMS Delhi and then took an unconventional route of from MBBS doctor to a PhD scholar. And his journey is really inspiring, and he also shared the tips for applying for Rhodes Scholarship, how to apply and what are things to take care, and that also a lot of resources, I would say. I will share embed in the video or share through my WhatsApp channel, and please feel free to follow. And thank you. Without any further delay, let's watch this video. See you. You are from AIIMS Delhi, and that's a prestigious institution for all the NEET aspirants. And currently, the controversy regarding NEETs are ongoing.
I know.
So how was your preparations and stuff? Was there also NEET exam at that time, or it was some other exams and you got in?
So during my exam, during my time, NEET was scrapped and we had AIPMT, and every state kind of had their own exams. So I gave almost 8 different exams during my time. Yeah, all for different universities. So AIIMS had a different exam and AIPMT was different. I think 1 year after me, they restarted the NEET.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think 2 years before me was also NEET, and then 1 year after me was also NEET. So there was a small gap of 2 years where it was AIPMT and I was in that small gap. There was also a cheating scandal when I gave my AIPMT exam, so I had to give it twice. Yeah. 2015 AIPMT, there was a big cheating scandal in Haryana, people using Bluetooth devices and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why they scrapped the AIPMT and they did the whole thing again. And this time they had like very strict laws for like what you can wear. Like you cannot wear anything with you cannot wear jeans, you cannot wear anything with buttons in it, you cannot wear any belts, you cannot wear any shoes, you have to wear chappal. So, yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
No full sleeves shirts allowed, no buttons allowed, no nothing.
Okay.
It was a very different exam atmosphere that I've given in. I gave my boards and then I gave my NEET exam, AIPMT, AIIMS exam, all 1,000 different exams. Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to prepare for this only once and we'll see what happens. How
was the preparation for MBBS exams like NEET or the AIPMT? Just after, how did you manage along with your 12th? I mean, I just want to make sure that video is helpful for the 12th or those students as well.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I honestly thought like the syllabus was the same, like NCERT was going to be asked in school exams and also NEET and AIPMT and AIIMS exam. Everybody was going to base their questions off of NCERT. So I thought, like the syllabus is the same, so I'll just do all of it together.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. I focused a lot on doing multiple MCQs more than like just reading more and more books. Rather than reading more books, I just solved more questions basically. I also see that when you pursue your MBBS, you are a Rhodes Scholar in US. You also did a lot of internships. So is it very normal? Is it very normal for MBBS student to pursue a lot of internships and stuff? Maybe AIIMS have a different rate of stuff, but yeah. It is normal for people like me who hate medicine.
Oh, is it?
who are not I shouldn't say hate medicine. I should say not the biggest fan of clinical medicine to try to do everything else. So basically that was my goal, is like, I will do all the internships possible. I will try to be away from this hospital as much as possible and see what all things I can do. And I got lucky in a few cases, like very lucky. So one of the cases was AIIMS New Delhi had a tie-up. So a lot of seniors from my college used to go to Hopkins. So I thought, I'll also follow in their footsteps. And they already had the blueprint ready. So I just had to jump on that. Then I did some of my own research and came across a very nice ICMR IIT Kharagpur IIM Ahmedabad project. And they just ran that project for 2 years. After that, they stopped it. And so I got very lucky that, I was a part of that group, and they just ran it for 2 years, 1 year before when I did, and 1 year in which I did it, and then they stopped it afterwards. So I got very lucky there. Khurana Scholarship was very lucky because seniors from my college basically wrote an email to Khurana Scholarship, or like the
Uh-huh.
people administering the Khurana Scholarship, that no one in medical school gets 80% marks, which is your threshold or a cutoff for application.
Uh-huh.
And so lower it. It is unfair. Like medical students are
Okay.
also biologists, like biological
Uh-huh.
scientists. And they said, yes, you are right. So they lowered it to 65%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I
only
see.
for medical students, like 1 year before me. And I had 70% at that time. So if it was the original cutoff of 80%, I would not have been eligible to apply for it. But like
I
seniors
see.
from my college, basically they did a lot of bureaucracy work. They went to our dean, they got a signature from them, they got a signature from the last person 7, 8 years ago who had gotten 80% and above, and said that I am the last person to receive 80%. And after this, nobody has gotten these many marks
Oh,
in
I
the
see.
most premier medical institute in India. So please lower your cutoff. And like
Okay.
to their credit, they did it. They didn't say, no, no, our cutoffs are set in stone or anything. And so I got
Mm-hmm.
very lucky there that my seniors did this for me.
I
Uh,
see.
yeah,
So
so
you're more of a right place at the right time.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Very
see.
much right place at the right time, a guy. Uh,
I see. So, how was your then at that time at the end of your MBBS you decided to pursue for a master's? How you came across the Rhodes Scholarship, and how was the preparation for that? Or is it more like a going with the flow and then you'll find opportunity and just apply?
it's actually a mix of both.
Uh-huh.
So during my medical college, I realized that I'm more interested in research and like solving health problems rather than clinical research or like doing clinical stuff. As
Mm-hmm.
in more than treating patients, I was more interested in research. So I thought,
Mm-hmm.
why not let me do this as a career for the next few years at
Mm-hmm.
least and see what happens. If I'm good at it, then I'll get better opportunities and stuff like that, and play it as
Okay.
on a feedback mechanism. Let's see what happens. But
Mm.
and so in like third year or fourth year of medical school, I heard about the Rhodes Scholarship,
Okay.
and that it's something that provides PhD and master's funding, etc., to do like to go outside. And I was like, I don't want to sort of be a finance like ask for money from my parents if I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
do a
yeah,
PhD. Yeah, because
yeah.
like the other route is doing clinical and that pays so much money. It's like
Mm,
it's
yeah, yeah,
completely the
definitely.
opposite. It's like masters costs you so much and doing clinics pays you so much, one of the
Mm.
highest paying jobs in India and US. And so I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
fine. If
yeah.
I want to do research, I will try to get myself a scholarship. Uh, so I thought, so I started looking at scholarships, and Rhodes was the first one. And I talked to a few of my professors and realized that the exact scholarship is kind of pointless. If you
Oh,
are good
okay.
at what you do, then the scholarship sort of want you, unless you fall into something unless you fall into their exclusion criteria, like we won't fund doctors, then that's fine. Then you're ineligible for that scholarship. But if you are eligible for a scholarship, then the actual scholarship is kind of pointless. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you just have to be good at what you claim to do or what you claim to be. And so we thought,
Okay.
okay, let's keep which scholarship to pursue at a side and then figure out
Mm-hmm.
how to get better at, I said that I'm interested in research, so how to get better at it. Sort
Mm.
of that became my approach. So I did a few
Okay.
projects in AIIMS, did some clinical stuff, did a quality
Mm-hmm.
improvement project at a rural hospital where I was posted. And
Okay.
while I was doing that, while I was thinking about, studying or studying abroad or like doing a master's or a PhD, COVID happened
Ah.
like in 2020. I joined my MBBS in 2015.
Uh-huh.
And 3, 4 years I've been doing internships. I've been like traveling around India and
Mm-hmm.
once to Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the final year comes, when all of my friends are studying for, their NEET PG exams or postgraduate exams,
Mm-hmm.
COVID hits. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh God, even if I get into a PG, I will just be treating COVID patients for the next 2 years, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not really interested in clinics anyway. I'm quite interested in research and public health. I was also quite interested in like understanding public health problems, and going to a place where there were a lot of problems so that I could learn from those problems. And
Okay.
I had attended a camp called the Nirman camp.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not very well known, but
Uh-huh.
it's it's run by an NGO called Search, like Society for Education Action and Research in Community Health. And
Okay.
the organization has done like the organization has basically invented ASHA worker model.
Oh,
So the
interesting.
world's first
Okay.
ASHA worker was given by Search, or like the Dr. Abhay Bang, Dr.
Ah.
Rani Bang, and the organization of Search in
Hmm.
Gadchiroli.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I attended a camp that they had organized. I went there and I
Uh-huh.
realized, okay, this is actually a very good opportunity for me to not just learn about public health, but also like learn about the people and like some
Mm-hmm.
implementation programs that they have been doing. So they
Mm-hmm.
are basically single-handedly responsible for improving India's maternal mortality pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And they also had programs on alcohol and de-addiction, also had programs on non like stroke and heart attacks. So they had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
programs running, and I was quite interested in implementation research, public health, those kinds of things. So I
Okay.
thought, I'll put my money where my mouth is and I'll join this NGO, take a significant pay
Yeah.
cut, yeah,
Uh-huh.
basically work
Uh-huh.
for free, but at the same time learn and also apply for like studies and scholarships at the
Mm.
same time.
Mm.
Yeah, so the application was not a very tough application because I was the only applicant. So it was not
Don't
very
make it
hard for
feel.
me to get this job. Yeah, nobody wants to practice in like small tribal villages.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so my application was a good one because it was the only one.
yeah. I would say your experience of multiple interns from your MBBS period, but also this experience of working in an NGO that was
Yeah.
on a tribal village, and you know the India better, I would say. You know the issues happening and what's the people are going through, and you can really portray what exactly happening in the rural level. And I think that very well helped for your Rhodes Scholarship application as well. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
of
So how
course.
was the Rhodes Scholarship like? What did they ask, or is there what is the process of the scholarship like? Is there a interview plus application, or is only application process, or how did that work out?
Yeah, so the application process for roads, which is very similar to a lot of other applications. So the base structure is kind of the same. So there is a statement, there's a
Mm-hmm.
personal letter, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's an academic letter or like a
Mm-hmm.
research proposal, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's a CV, and then there are a few letters of recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, it keeps changing every year. So when I gave my application, it was the
Mm-hmm.
first time when an academic statement was implemented. So
Okay.
before 2022 till 2021, they only had personal letter and CV. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I started, they said personal letter, and then 750 word academic letter, 1000 word personal letter, then 750 word
Okay.
academic letter, then CV, then four letters of
Uh-huh.
recommendation. And
Okay.
then they changed it next year. They said 1000 word personal letter. Oh, they changed it to
Uh,
750 word personal letter, and we will give you the prompts that you have to write your essay and you have to cover these three bullet points that we are giving you. They call it the
okay.
Rhodes criteria or something.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
then
see.
only a 350 word academic statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And I
I
think
see.
it's the
I see.
same this year also. So I would advise anybody if applying for this year, or maybe, YouTube is
Hmm.
forever. So
Yeah.
sometime down the line, whenever you
Yeah.
happen to come across this
Yes.
video,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
have a look through their documents, like the Rhodes India official documents communication,
Mhm.
because they keep changing it. They keep having fun with it. They just so that like uh, some people don't have obvious advantage. So, example, there are some colleges from which you have Rhodes Scholars every year because
Mm.
they have like inside information about what is being asked, what is being told. So they just keep playing around with it to see, okay, it's not completely new. So people who have already gotten the scholarship have no idea about how to get in again. So they can't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
advise their juniors as well.
I see.
So yeah, so they keep playing around with it, but essentially the essence is kind of the same. The personal letter is your personal story about who are you and what change do you want to make in this world. And you can like go nuts, have fun with it, and like try to tell what motivates you, what drives you, try to weave a story and have fun basically.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what does this scholarship contain? Is it cover all your expenses at Oxford? Cover your fees, your stipend or everything, or is it literally covered everything, or is there anything that is left out?
No, like the scholarship is one of the best scholarships in the world. So they cover like your flight tickets, your visas, your tuition fees and living expenses. And they also have very good support. So if you are going through mental health issues, they will provide you with like therapy, and they have a very big community and they're very active with all their stuff. So like, I mean, I'm busy with Rhodes events all the time during the year, basically. And so they make
I see.
sure that you have friends. A big problem a lot of people face when they move from India is that, they don't have friends anymore, or they only make friends with other Indians because it's like very easy to make friends with them.
Yes,
It's
yes.
also very
That's true.
scary atmosphere in this country. You don't know who is hostile towards you, who is friendly, how to judge other people. So it gets a bit tricky. And so this scholarship makes sure that you have some friends that you have to see again and again. So out of
Okay.
100, you'll at least find like 2 or 3 people that you vibe with.
Okay. So
Yeah.
does this also cover NHS charges? The NHS
Yeah.
annual charges? Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
very
visa
good then.
fees is covered, visa and NHS, like the international health
Uh,
surcharge, which is now
uh,
increasing. It was 400,
yeah.
I think, when I applied. Now it's gone up to 700. So they'll cover that.
Okay. So
Yeah. And
just want to share my experience as well. I was a
yeah,
Commonwealth
go
scholar
ahead.
at Manchester. So
Commonwealth.
literally, yeah, I'm a Commonwealth Split Scholar at Manchester initially
Ah.
before converting to this program. So literally, they also covered everything, as I would say. There was no application fee for even visa. When you click that option, the visa fees goes away, and they
Oh yeah,
covered
they have a.
everything. And they
I'm
covered
sorry.
everything. Yeah, and they covered everything. And even once I had a dental issue, so they cover that as well. So they literally cover all take care of every aspect of student, and so it's best scholarship. Yeah, that's what I just want to mention.
Yes, exactly. No, I think that's like my theory that if you are good at something, then the scholarship kind of doesn't really matter exactly the name of the scholarship, because all the good ones cover everything pretty much. And I think the application would have been kind
Okay.
of similar, like a statement, a CV, a proposal, and then a few letters of recommendation, basically.
So you already know that you want to do PhD. So at the same time, you reach to professors for your joining for PhD at Oxford itself, or you had another plans, and how did that work out?
Oh, I mean, this is another like right place at the right time thing. So I applied to a few PhD professors, like I applied to a few professors
Uh-huh.
for a PhD, uh, like admissions basically, and they rejected me.
Huh?
They said your
Oh,
application is not good enough, so we won't be taking you.
oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I'm
Okay.
like, what?
Very interesting.
This is supposed to be a good scholarship. What's happening over here?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I get
yeah.
into a master's. I didn't get a PhD position that I had submitted application for, and it was actually a blessing in disguise. So I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
Because uh, I did my master's last year, and while I was doing my master's, I was also looking for professors who were interested in like public health, global health research, implementation research, that type of stuff. And I came across my supervisor, who is my supervisor right now, like Dr. Mike English, Professor Mike English. And I approached him, and he's very friendly, and he's so that's like another story in itself. But the key
Okay.
thing was that he did not post an advertisement for PhD students last year. So he did not
Okay.
have a post for, like, he did not have a PhD post like in 2022 when I had applied for my master's or other PhDs. Otherwise, I would have applied to him directly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's why sort of I lucked out and not took another PhD. Otherwise, I would have done something I would not have enjoyed that much, basically.
Mm.
And how I found him is how I find like my profile, that my supervisor, who is my supervisor today, is basically I was reading like the Lancet, which is a very famous medical journal,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
going through like one of their big papers on like diagnostics in like essential diagnostics in low and middle income countries. And while
Mm-hmm.
working in those rural like villages, I understood that, diagnostic access is a big problem. You have to send people
Mm.
like 200 kilometers away to get a CT done, MRI done. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
this is a real issue, and I want to work something on it. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
reading that paper, and I was like, yeah, yeah, this like completely matches with my observations also. And so look at who's
Mm-hmm.
the author, and
Mm-hmm.
the author is like the Lancet Commissioner on Diagnostics. And I look him
Okay.
up, and he's from Oxford, and he's from
Ah.
like my college. And
Okay.
so yeah, yeah, I ask, like, I find out his contact details. I email him, and he's like, yeah, sure, let's go, let's get a coffee or something.
Ah. Okay.
And so I get a coffee with him. He puts me in touch with Mike, who's my supervisor right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I find him. And so it's all like being at the right place at the right time. However, like it's not a very straight journey. It's like
Yeah.
I wasn't, I hadn't thought about this back in India at all, but I just found this route
Mm.
while coming
Okay.
over here and meeting interesting people at this time. So my PhD right now is in simulation system, like developing simulation for health systems or cervical cancer health system in India.
Oh, okay. Like what
Yeah.
sort of simulations you do?
Uh,
Uh,
so like the name of the technique is discrete event simulation, but it's just another like
mhm.
computer simulation, basically a computer game for
Uh-huh.
policymakers, basically.
Okay. Okay.
If you want to implement a cervical cancer screening system tomorrow in your state or your
Uh-huh.
city, and you want to find out
Uh-huh.
how many doctors, how many pap smears, how many pathologists you will need, you can run
Mm-hmm.
my simulation.
Ah. So you're just
Yeah,
starting your PhD, right? Or you're in the middle?
yeah, I'm in my first year, so I've just
Oh, sure.
submitted
Okay.
like just like reading proposals, that type of stuff.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this
Nice.
is not something I would have thought of
Okay.
in India.
Get a lot of messages from other students who get PhD offers, but they don't have fundings available. So how do you ensure that there is also funding came along with your application and things like that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.